Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest Toy Ventures episode. Thanks for watching. I thought I'd do something slightly different this week, and instead of featuring just a single toy, I'd talk about the merchandising from one of my favorite television series and what I collected from it. The series in question this week is called Kung Fu. It's one of my favorites growing up, and a series I fondly remember watching with my dad. We often didn't see eye to eye on television programming, so this show was a nice common ground for us. There's a long-running story that this series was somehow stolen from Bruce Lee. The movie Dragon seems to be the culprit, but it's not entirely accurate. The show was developed by Ed Spielman, a veteran TV producer who not only spoke Chinese, but was a student of Kung Fu. The earliest script for the show was actually optioned in the mid-1960s. It just took a long time to get made. So it's sort of just a parallel thinking sort of thing with Bruce Lee's The Warrior, which is now a series on Cinemax, I believe. Kung Fu was a well-rated show that ran for 3 years and definitely integrated itself into 70s pop culture. The show did get some merchandise, as evidenced here, but there's some curious items missing that I think is funny, like board games and no puzzles. Those are usually the things that every TV show gets first. As a side note, I've always equated this show to the Planet of the Apes TV show because at the time, I think the merchandise was together and they both kind of used that sun motif rather well. So whenever I see Kung Fu stuff, I think about Planet of the Apes stuff, and that must be just association. So let's go through some of my favorites and some of the weirdest things I own. In the United Kingdom, they sell these hardback books around Christmas time. They're loaded with comics and stories and pretty lame games. They're called annuals, and they're a lot of fun to collect because of the exhaustive titles you can buy. Kung Fu is no exception. In fact, it got 4 separate editions, which is 1 year longer than the series ran itself. I love these books, and if you're a fan of anything in the genre, there's probably a British annual for it. There's one for Holmes and Yo-Yo. Toymaker Multiple Toys made this wonderful play set and this target set. They were known for making, plastic army men and cowboys, and were no strangers to licensing, as they created similar sets for Planet of the Apes, MASH, and The Lone Ranger. The Kung Fu set here isn't licensed, but there's no mistaking Kane, Master Po, and young Kane here. What I find particularly amusing about this set is it allows you to have flashbacks. If you've been watching Toy Ventures, you know that I have a little fixation with these kind of army men sets, so this rings some bells for me. I had been desperately looking for it for a long time, and when I mentioned it to my friend and podcast partner, Jason Lindsay, his response was, you gave me one of those a few years ago, right? I had not remembered doing this. A month or so later, it arrived at my doorstep, so I'm really grateful for him to send it back to me. Any show that might be popular with kids, of course, got a lunchbox. And this is no exception. The Aladdin lunchbox is absolutely gorgeous. It rests above my workstation. Just look at that art and you'll know why. Like any program that is popular with adults and children alike, it got a Halloween costume in 1973 from Ben Cooper, possibly the leader in children's Halloween costumes at the time. I love this set. It's just so goofy. You can pick this up fairly cheap. Mine's got a bit of a shiner, but I don't care. This is just a fabulous item. I love Halloween costumes, by the way. Viewmasters are another staple of good 70s TV, and the Kung Fu set is based on an early Season 2 episode about a witch, so it's a good choice. Gum cards are a weird one for me. I collected them as a kid, and I did start buying them when I first became an adult collector. I think they're neat, but I can't justify spending the money on something I'm going to stick in a binder. It just doesn't work for me. So I do love owning wax packs, however. And this Kung Fu wrapper cost me $4, and it's one that I will actually try to get a wax pack of at the next convention I'm at. I love the artwork on these. This Squeaky Toy from Spain is probably the weirdest kung fu toy I own. I guess it was meant to stick on your window of your car. It sat on eBay for about a month, and I pulled the trigger finally. It's one of those things I didn't know if I wanted to pay the price, but also didn't want to miss out on. Collecting is weird sometimes. You just don't know what you're doing, and I'm glad I own this, but, what did I buy? Finally, this is something I do not own, but wish I did. It is a kung fu figure set from Gulliver. I believe they're in Brazil. And my goodness, I want this badly. If anyone has one of these for sale, please contact me. I think it would be the cherry on the top of this collection. Is there an obscure TV series that you collect the merchandise to? What are your favorite pieces? Hit me up in the comments below, or hit me up in our own Facebook group, Pod Stallions. Or you can always, talk to me on Twitter, @PloudStallions. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. We hit 5,000 subscribers last week, and I just couldn't be happier that people are really digging this content. Take care.